I'm gonna build my nephew a Strat style guitar for Christmas, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to document the build for him. And this is the wood I'll be using for the body, and I just have to select a wood. I'm kind of eyeballing it to see. The idea is I'm going to cut it in half and use this maple over here, this figured maple, for like a centerpiece. I kind of have mixed feelings. It feels a little bit like wasteful since it is gorgeous wood, and I hate to, because I'm really only going to be showing the edge, but it is what it is. It'll give it a really nice figured centerpiece. So, oh well. Anyways, I'm gonna eyeball these boards and just look for the one that's probably gonna be the best. And I'm kind of leaning toward this middle board. Those are just rough sawmill marks, if you're wondering. And next step is to plane it and dimension it. And actually, before I do that, I think what I may do is go ahead and just glue it up so I lose less wood when I dimension it. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so that's the next step. So I've planed this board now, and it should be this the parallel sides. You can see there that nice figure. So now what I have to decide is which part I'm going to use. And I'm leaning toward this section. So it has a nice figure in there. Sorry about that light. And I think that's a done deal, unless I see something somewhere else that's problematic. I think that's it. So, next step is to cut that and get it ready. Okay, so now I've roughly joined one edge. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time making it really nice, and there's still issues with it. But I'm going to have to join plane everything after I glue up the blank. So now the next step is to cut the depth of the guitar here, so then it's easier later when I want to plane it. So I have to glue up. Man, it's tough. It's tough looking at it. It doesn't show up as much in person as it does on the camera, but looking through my phone, man, that flame is really nice. The saving grace is that this board is not wide enough. I thought about book matching it and using it for a top. It's just not wide enough. I tried a bunch of different templates that I use, and there would be nothing that's wide enough. Maybe if I put something in the middle, just something like a center stripe of a different wood in the middle, that might work. But this is what I bought it for, so I'm just going to use it. There's other flame tops or flame pieces of wood out there, so I'll be back in just a bit. I almost forgot that I had to join the edges of the mahogany. So that would make for a good joint. So I need to do that now. Even though I'm not going to plane it now, I definitely need to join it. both pieces. So here's the body blank post glue up, and you'll notice there's a whole lot of squeeze out. And the plan is to get rid of most of this. I'm just going to sand it, and then once I get the bulk of it so it'll lay flat, I'll run it through the planer, and then plane both sides, I'll be ready to start routing the actual body shape. Alright, so here is the body blank. Everything's planed, so it's all nice and flat. There's parallel edges. It's exactly 1 point, I forgot what it was. Whatever, I measured 3 of my Strats, my real American Strats, and they're all, what was it? Oh, shoot, it canceled out. It's all about 1 3/4, but it's a little different. So I think it's like 1.764 or something was the average of my 3 Strats. So that's what this is. There's 2 issues now that I have to think about. This piece of mahogany, I didn't notice it before, but there's a couple issues. There's one, let's see. I can find it. There's a knot over here, but that shouldn't matter. You can see the grain gets a little curly, not curly, but there's some curl or some curve in it, I guess. I don't know. There's a couple issues like here, and there's a tiny little knot here. If we flip it over, flip it over on my template and break it. If we flip it over, we've got this, which I'm not really sure what's going on there because it's flat, but it just it's aesthetically not great. However, this is where the maple is the most curly. So I'm kind of trying to decide what to do. If I put my template on it, I'm thinking I'm going to do it in this orientation to avoid that spot. And I think I have enough room everywhere. May be wrong. But anyways, the concern, one of the major concerns I have is that when I route the body, that this is going to get a lot of tear out. And I just don't know, but I kind of don't want to risk it. So this is the orientation. I think I just answered my own question. So I guess the thing now is I'm going to lay out a center line. If you haven't built a guitar before, that's probably the most important step. And once I do that, then I'm going to cut out the rough body shape so I can route it. So here we go. So I've finished roughing out the shape, the body, the rough shape, and it's starting to look pretty good. As I feared, there were a couple spots that were problematic. So, and that one spot, so I went ahead and filled it with a little mahogany. I think by the time that I sand it back and finish it, you probably won't even notice it. So I had one spot there, and then one spot on the other side, right here. And I actually thought about not even doing anything there. Again, you probably won't see it. And once I round over everything, you probably won't see anything. So probably wasn't worth it, but I did anyways, just in case. The other thing is I went ahead and routed the tremolo cavity. So next step is to route out the neck pocket and pickups and everything else. So here's the routed guitar body. It's pretty much the dimensions exactly like it would be on a American Strat, actually a 50s American Strat. So this is 5/8. These cavities are 3 1/4. These are not 3 1/4, 3/4. And this is 1/2 inch. And I believe this was also 1.5 inch. I may be wrong. Then also we have the tremolo cavity. So the next step is to round over the guitar. And before I do that, I'm just going to take a quick pass on the scrap to make sure I've got the right size round over bit. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch radius bit. It looks like the Fender plans say 5/8. I don't have one of those. So I'm thinking a 1/2 inch I could probably get away with. That's all I'm going to. So we'll give it a shot and just make sure. Okay, so I've rounded over and really done a really rough sanding of the guitar at this point. Rounded over all the edges of the cavities. Not that it really matters because you won't feel them, but it's just, I just wanted to. And see, I've also done the back. So the next step, I'm trying to think the best way to do this, is put in the carves for the arm and the belly. And I've done it before, and I didn't really love the way I did it. So I'm thinking there's got to be an easier, more precise way to do it. Thought about cutting it on an angle for my bandsaw. I think the easiest way is probably just going to be to carve it with my Dragon Rasp. So we'll give that a go. We'll see. I'm still debating. So I finished the arm carve, and I thought I'd stop for a second and show how I'm actually doing this. I started off, I've tried a bunch of things. I think I said dragon file earlier. I'm not really sure what I meant my Shinto. Anyways, this, by the way, this is one of my favorite tools. This thing is amazing. Anyways, if you're wondering how to do this, I tried. So I did most of it with my Shinto rasp, and then I switched to my belt sander. I considered using that. That's tricky to keep it where I want it in terms of getting straight lines. So I went back and used my little orbital sander with a really coarse grit to continue shape, to kind of finalize the shape. So now here on the belly cut, I'm using the Shinto rasp, kind of like get the basic shape, and then I'm going to go back with the orbital sander. That seems to work pretty well. So here's the final body, minus finish sanding, obviously. And you know, still have a center line, that's intentional. Everything's rounded over. And next step is to make the guitar. So let's test the template fit for the neck. I mean, the next step is to make the neck. So here's the neck template. Fits in nicely to the joint.